Before Tyson ever terrified the heavyweight division, there was Roberto Duran. And the truth is, his knockout legacy might be even scarier. You might think you know Duran, but not like this. This man didn't just win, he punished. From 1968 to 2001, Roberto Carlos Duran Samaniego put fear in the eyes of 4 different weight divisions: lightweight, welterweight, light middleweight, and middleweight. He wasn't just a champion, he was an undisputed lightweight king, a lineal welterweight ruler, and the second man in boxing history to fight across 5 decades. The first? Jack Johnson. That's the level of company he kept. But what made Duran truly terrifying wasn't just the belts, it was how he earned them. They called him Manos de Piedra, hands of stone, and that wasn't just a nickname, it was a warning. He was a pressure fighter with surgical precision, combining brute force with technical brilliance. He walked opponents down like a predator, then shut their lights out. And the numbers? They speak for themselves. A career total of 119 fights, 103 wins, 70 knockouts. That's more than Mike Tyson ever had. And Tyson didn't have to move up through weight classes to do it. Now, let's dive into the video and witness the fall of Duran's reign. Duran's reign of destruction peaked with Ray Arcel in his corner, the same legendary trainer who helped him dismantle legends like Sugar Ray Leonard and go to war with Wilfred Benitez. The ring ranked him the 5th greatest fighter of the last 80 years. Burt Sugar put him at number 8 of all time. And the Associated Press? They said it straight. Roberto Duran was the best lightweight of the entire 20th century. So yeah, Tyson's knockouts are iconic. But if you're talking about a true knockout beast across eras, styles, and divisions, Roberto Duran might just be the scariest one of them all. Duran's story starts cruelly. He didn't just win his first 31 professional fights, he obliterated anyone in his path. But Duran wasn't having it. He wasn't just aiming for the win, he was sending a message. I'm not here to play. The New York Times even wrote about it, saying that even if it was a low blow, anything short of pulling a knife is regarded indulgently in American boxing. And Buchanan? Well, he said he left the ring with some pretty sore, balls. Duran didn't stop there. He wasn't just a one-hit wonder. He had some seriously brutal defenses lined up, including knocking out Jimmy Robertson, Hector Thompson, and even Guts Ishimatsu. The guy was untouchable. But the most savage moment? In 1974, he rematched Esteban de Jesus, the one guy who had ever beaten him. And guess what? Duran got his revenge with an 1111th round knockout that looked like something out of a horror movie. But the story doesn't end there. In 1989, when de Jesus was dying from AIDS, Duran did something that would leave a mark on all of us. He visited him, and what followed was one of the most powerful, tear-jerking moments in boxing history. Duran cried. He embraced his old foe, kissed him, and even had his daughter kiss him. At a time when people with AIDS were stigmatized, Duran's simple act of humanity stood as a testament to the man behind the legend. Roberto Duran wasn't just a knockout king, he was a beast, one of the scariest, most destructive fighters to ever step into the ring. And when we're talking about true knockout power, Tyson's punches look like light taps in comparison. But hey, don't just take my word for it. Take a look at these brutal moments from Roberto Duran's career. This was a statement fight. A moment that proved Roberto Duran wasn't just some lightweight champion. In 1973, Duran was coming off the first loss of his career. Critics had started to question whether he could bounce back, but Duran answered devastatingly. He was defending his WBA lightweight title against Hector Thompson, a tough-as-nails Commonwealth and Australian champion. Thompson had been fighting at 140 pounds and had earned a reputation for being one of the hardest guys to put away. But Duran was a whole different beast. The fight was held in Panama City, and the crowd of 15,000 saw something they'll never forget. Duran was relentless, starting with constant jabbing that set up vicious hooks and right hands. Thompson had no answer. He was dropped in the 8th round, unable to withstand the ferocity of Duran's punches. Thompson, who sadly passed away in May at the age of 70, once said about Duran, "I never had a tougher rival." That's an understatement. Duran's mix of vicious instinct and the sharp strategic mind of his trainer, Ray Arcel, made him a nightmare for anyone in the ring. Next up, we've got another masterclass in Duran's destructive power. The fight against Guts Ishimatsu, who was then known as Suzuki, took place just a few months after the Thompson fight. Ishimatsu had won 6 straight fights and was feeling confident, but Duran was out to show that he wasn't just a comeback champion, he was a destroyer. The jab was again the center of his offense, and he blended impeccable countering and defense into a whirlwind of destruction. Ishimatsu had no room to breathe. Duran knocked him down 5 times in just 2 rounds. The referee had no choice but to stop the fight after the 10th round, and Ishimatsu's dream of getting the WBC lightweight belt was shattered. But that night, Duran was in a class of his own. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This was a fight full of history and bad blood, but not exactly in the way you'd expect from Duran's most intense rivalries. Duran had a score to settle with Edwin Viruet, the older of the Viruet brothers, after losing to him in a non-title bout back in 1975. That fight, which saw Viruet claim a controversial decision, was a thorn in Duran's side. But Duran wasn't one to forget. He came into this rematch with a chip on his shoulder, an absolute vengeance in mind. Viruet, the slick Puerto Rican, managed to make Duran miss at times, but Duran's pressure was overwhelming. He trapped Viruet on the ropes and corners, showing the world he was far superior. In the end, Duran kept his title, proving that, even in a fight that went the full 15 rounds, his knockout mentality was there, lurking behind every jab, every hook, and every relentless move he made. Nat Lube, editor of The Ring, said it best after this fight. Duran proved he is a lightweight to not only be reckoned with, but also to be considered when in future years the barflies start the argument. Who was the best lightweight who ever lived? And that's exactly what this fight represented. Duran wasn't just a lightweight contender, he was the guy. Lampkin came out strong, even winning a few exchanges early on. But Duran's constant, unrelenting pressure broke him down, round after round. By the 14th, Lampkin was already hanging on by a thread when Duran unleashed a brutal left hook that dropped him like a ton of bricks. Lampkin went straight to the hospital and stayed there for 5 days. And Duran? He didn't just stop there. He went on TV and said, "Today I sent him to the hospital. Next time, I'll put him in the morgue." Cold. But that's the kind of killer mentality Duran had. Cuevas, the Mexican welterweight champion, was known for his own vicious left hook, and he'd terrorized the division in the late 70s. But by the time he faced Duran, Cuevas wasn't the same fighter. He'd seen better days, and while still dangerous, he was starting to fade. Duran, however, was still in his prime, and he wasted no time taking advantage of the situation. Duran blitzed Cuevas in the first few rounds, with his quick jab and relentless speed outclassing the former champion. By round 4, Duran had Cuevas trapped in a corner and unleashed an assault that sent the Mexican fighter down. Cuevas barely made it to his feet, but with his corner throwing in the towel, it was clear Duran's knockout power was on another level. A quick, brutal finish that once again showed how dangerous Duran could be, even when facing a fighter like Cuevas, who was once feared for his own knockout prowess. So, yeah, Duran wasn't just a guy with power. He was a knockout monster, a ferocious beast who lived for breaking his opponents down with a relentless assault that would make anyone in his path feel the full force of his fists. And if you think Tyson's power was scary, Duran was on another level. His knockout game was something else entirely. Is Roberto Duran the most terrifying knockout artist in boxing history? His legacy isn't just about the belts, it's about the fear he struck into the hearts of opponents across 4 weight divisions. From his relentless pressure to his brutal precision, Duran wasn't just a champion, he was a nightmare. If this deep dive into Duran's legacy left you speechless, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more on the fighters who defined combat sports. Share your thoughts in the comments. Does Duran deserve to be remembered as the greatest knockout artist? Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next legendary story.